This is like, I loved all my other speakers, but today, this is my favorite part of the program. I'm joined by real-life entrepreneurs and, for the record, GoDaddy users who are reinventing the American dream through micro-businesses. Jaqi, Wright, and Nikki Howard are the two sisters who founded Furlough Cheesecake, and it's fantastic. Their business was founded in an attempt to make lemonade out of lemons after funding themselves without a job during the longest federal government shutdown in history. That was back in 2018, and we're once again a few weeks out from another potential government shutdown. We'll see how that goes. Maybe they'll need a new business or a new cheesecake. Candis Jones is the founder of the Jones Market. I've just been on her website. It's super cool. Candis turned her gift for making unique handmade jewelry into a revenue source that that's baby safe and yet beautiful. So let me just say, Jaqi and Nikki, I mean, it's a real pleasure to meet you both online. I was looking recently, you've got a YouTube video. Is it your son or nephew? It's the cutest thing ever. And you can get everybody a free slice of cheesecake with any order. So with that, can you just tell us, I mean, one of the, I think the interesting things is to go back to the time that you created this business and you were under economic stress. Jaqi?
Well, yeah, we were under economic stress, definitely. But in the midst of all that, my sister's heart to actually create a sweet potato cheesecake is what changed everything. She donated that cheesecake, and thankfully there was enough for me to take home. And literally, that's what started it after our mom tasted it and just said it was just so good we should sell it. I mean, it wasn't something we were trying to do. It didn't make any sense to start a business during the furlough, but my sister's heart and the love she put in that just to cheer people up and make them smile during the crises we were dealing with is what led to us actually having this amazing business.
Nikki, I mean, what I think we're all intrigued by is that you took this idea and this excellent cake. It's one thing to cook a cake, make a cake, another thing to actually build a business out of it. I'm just interested in what insights you have. I mean, the real reason we're doing this show with you is to give others watching today insights into things that they might think about doing, what is replicable. And so when you kind of look back at that time, what are the skills you needed to develop or put in place to make this succeed?
Well, it is extremely important not to allow the circumstance and the situation to stop you in your tracks. We've all been affected by what is happening now around the world. And back then it was the furlough that touched my sister and myself as federal employees and 800,000 plus others. So, you know, it was a perfect combination of circumstance and sheer determination and faith that kind of pushed us into what we decided to do as our business. And we've been going strong ever since. So everybody has something that they can do. Everybody has something that they enjoy and they like to do. The thought is figure out how you can monetize it. Figure out how you can take what you have in your hand and multiply it and spread it around, because there's a need for everything and everybody has something.
So I want to jump to Candis in a second, but who's in the video? Who's in your YouTube video? That young lad?
That's Jaqi's son.
That's
Yes,
Jaqi's
that's
son.
my son.
I just
And
tell
of
people,
course,
you got to go
Nikki's
watch
nephew.
it. You'll be moved to come order a cheesecake. He's a star. It's really, I wish we had it to play because it's just so good. So Candis, tell us your story. And I have to tell you, I've been on your website a little while earlier, and you know, I didn't find anything for myself, but for lots of friends. But you know, and I love the font of Jones Market. But tell us a little bit how you got going and how you began to build this as a business. And I have to say, your website is gorgeous.
Thank you so much. Well, how it began was I had my son. He's 9 years old now, and I stopped working so I could stay home with him. We ran the budget. We thought we could do it, and very quickly found out that we could not sustain me not working and staying home with him. And so I didn't know what to do, but I knew I was either going to work nights somewhere else or work nights in my own home. And I ended up getting this idea by just making a gift for a friend that was a necklace. And I mean, we didn't have anything. And so I we didn't have any money at that time. It was just my husband working, and he's a teacher. And so we were struggling. And so we basically decided to use a week's worth of grocery money and throw it all at starting this tiny little business, and just with a hope and a prayer that it would, at least yield some sort of profit so we could keep going the next week and the next week. And thankfully it did. And so, yeah, that's kind of how it started. It started with a gift that turned into a product.
And part of the shtick of this, right, is that you can be holding your baby and your baby can be chewing and pulling on the necklace, right? Or the wrist. I mean, I don't want to, I mean, your stuff is pretty, but the point is it's pretty plus, right? It's got the whole baby deal with it.
Exactly. Like I feel like when you become a mother, a lot of times you lose a lot of your identity in that moment, and you have to kind of get it back slowly. And so you don't really get to wear jewelry anymore as a mom because babies tug and pull. And we found out right away that babies love this jewelry, I think because it's chunky and it's easy to hold. And so I did a lot of research. I figured out how to make it non-toxic and durable and tuggable. And so my biggest thing is I don't want people that see you wearing the jewelry to think it's for babies. I want you to be able to wear it no matter if you have young children or not. So most of my clients, they start out customers when they have young children, but they stay customers when their kids, I mean, we've been around 8-9 years now. And so I have customers that have been with me all that time, and their kids are grown and they still come back for more because it's lightweight, durable, beautiful jewelry.
That's fascinating. I love these stories. Jaqi and Nikki, I want to ask the same thing of Candis as well. I'm sitting in Washington, D.C. now in our studio, and it's right downtown, and we have all this big corporate real estate everywhere, and a lot of it is empty. And so there's this interesting tension right now between brick and mortar places and doing everything online. Now, I think that Furlough Cake has a brick and mortar place, but you do a ton of business online. I'd love to hear about, are you finding yourself more of an online company now, or do you still need to maintain a kind of in real-time retail presence that people can pull up to?
Well, we existed only primarily online up until July of this year. So we were shipping cheesecakes around the country and still are, and just opened our first retail space at the National Harbor in July. So that has actually opened up even more access for others to come in and get some of our delicious cheesecake. So online is the way we started, and we built up, and we're continue to build and to grow. But the brick and mortar for us, and during these times, because you have to make sure you're mindful, do the social distancing, keep everything sanitized and safe for customers coming in. So that's a whole different kind of way to conduct business.
So I just want to get this right. Jaqi, so Jaqi, you opened a brick. You're the only retail restaurant in America to open up in the middle of a pandemic, July 2020.
Yeah, it just makes sense, Started the business during a furlough, so why not just open our first brick and mortar during the pandemic on National Cheesecake Day at that?
And it's working out.
Yes,
it's working out. That's great.
We are blessed.
Now, Candis, same question to you. I know. Candis, the Jones Market showroom and workshop is housed in the historic Stoner House in Uptown Westerville. And I looked on one of your pages. You have stockists, which I like the term stockists. So I guess they carry your product 2 places in Westerville, Ohio, and 1 in Circleville, Ohio. And so my question is, how much are you finding that you need to have like a physical presence in real estate that you or someone is paying for versus an online presence?
I feel like the online presence that we started and continue to have really saved us during this time, because we had already built that business and it was there and solid. So I could keep moving forward and not have to shut everything down. in the Stoner House, I have a showroom set up that we would have pop-up shops and all kinds of things. And that was helpful for people to come in and touch and feel and try on. But my kids now, their school is not in person. And so I don't know if you can hear them, but on the other side of the store, there are 3 children. And I kind of had to convert the space into a learning room. So I'm working nights and weekends a lot more now. And then when I can work during the day with them set up with school, I do that. So I would say people are so understanding in this time that things have to shift a little bit. And so the showroom not being available is okay. The business is mostly online. So that's been helpful.
It's fascinating. Jaqi and Nikki, look, I've read about you everywhere. In fact, I myself have written about Furlough Cheesecake in the Hill in stuff I've written, and I got a very nice note from you folks, so thank you for that. But do you find yourself pursued by lots of other folks that want to know how you did it, what lessons you learned? Are you out there as a mentor while you're trying to scramble and get those cakes baked?
Absolutely. We want to be able to assist anybody who finds themselves ready to step out and do something new. So we're always open to be able to give advice, to share. We realize that it's important to have mentors and other people in your corner to share what they've learned. So we're always willing and able.
Jaqi, let me ask you just along that same line of that question, but when you think about it, because again, entrepreneurs out there listening, there's, one of the stories that I read with Aman Bhutani is a town in Texas that put up an incubator, and all of a sudden they had 8 different firms that had become e-commerce. I have a house in Chestertown, Maryland, and lots of small businesses have popped up in there. But it can be wobbly, it can be uneven. What are the things you had to change, the disciplines you had to develop to succeed that you may not have thought you had to have at the beginning?
So my sister and I are both coming from federal government backgrounds as professionals, senior level in our agencies. Coming to do Cheesecake was definitely something we were not planning. We had to be willing to do every single job. So every single task we had to be willing to be able to do. We are blessed to have family members who help us, and hopefully soon we'll be able to actually hire more people to come in. But we had to be flexible, my sister's favorite word, to be flexible and be able to adapt as we needed to adapt. And that required us to be willing to be every single person in this whole cheesecake empire, be able to do everything, trash man, baker, whatever is necessary. We had to be willing to be flexible and to do it.
Now, I know some of your family members may be watching right now, but did you ever have to tell some of your family members not to be so involved?
Oh, never. We welcome every bit that they offer.
Well, Candis, let me go to you just as we wrap this up and kind of ask you again. I'm again in the spirit of saying, okay, how do we take the really great experiences you've had, and people. We just talked to the mayor of Chicago, who wants to change the vector for a lot of people there. What are the disciplines you had to learn that you might not have thought? When you were sitting with a mom and saying, "Well, thinking I might have to work a night job or do it home." It's wonderful what you did, but I'm just interested in taking it from being a boutique strike of lightning that worked out to something that you said, "Wow, I'm now an entrepreneur." And maybe I could go do this or do this. And this is what I think gives people watching some sense of that magic and how to do it.
Absolutely. I feel like with Furlough Cheesecake, I resonated with what they were saying as far as it took me desperation. Like I had to be in a desperate place to say, I need to make this work no matter what. I need to make this work. And so I think personally that's what I needed to be. I couldn't have a backup plan maybe. Now, I don't know if that's wise for everybody, but for me, I had to say, no, you're not going to stop, because when you're a small business owner, there's going to be all kinds of things that get in your way, all kinds of things that make you want to quit. And you have to be so certain in your mind and your heart that I'm not going to quit this because of my why. And my why is my kids and my family and providing for them. And so when you have that fire inside of you, you won't stop. You will not stop. You'll keep going. So if you have something like that, I would just say define your why. Why are you doing it? And is that why strong enough to keep you going and going and going, even when you hit those roadblocks?
Well, look, Candice Jones, owner and creator of the Jones Market, baby safe, baby friendly, gorgeous jewelry, and Jaqi, Wright, Nikki Howard, the co-founders of the Furlough Cheesecake. I'm going to go down to National Harbor and see your brick and mortar place as soon as I can. It's a real honor. So thank you for sharing the snapshots of how you did this in this time of stress and what, the e-commerce side of what you've done. It's really a pleasure to meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.